set that's gonna get me killed
Ooh.
tonight.
Wow, that was abrupt. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. This is session number 12 of our ongoing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign titled Evermore le Masquerade. This is a game that takes place in a homebrewed setting of mine called Rosfin. This particular kingdom is known as Gerdes, and this is kind of based loosely but heavily on the Baroque periods of Spain, France, Venice, with a little tiny bit of dash of Orlais from the Dragon Age series kind of thrown in. Tonight's episode is titled An Invitation Revoked. This has been a really fantastic campaign so far. The characters that all these players have brought to this table are just hot piles of mess. And it's been incredible to watch them navigate what has already come their way. And just last session, we kind of turned a corner on the story, kind of entered Act 2. And I'm really excited to get back to this tale that we're telling. So, welcome. If it is your first time here, I'll give you the same warning that I give at the beginning of all of my games, and that is if mature language or immature humor or subject matter that is adult or things that bother you, this is not a good channel for you. But this specifically is not a good campaign for you to watch. While there will not be any explicit or illicit sex that is featured in this game, we're going to toe the line about as close as we can. So, if that kind of thing doesn't bother you, then stay a while and listen. I'm going to pass things over to my players now so that they can introduce themselves, tell you what they might have going on, and where you may be able to find them on the interweb. And then I think we're going to get started. So, first up is Karen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen, otherwise known as Myth and Gears across the socials. I don't have much going on in the public space right now, but that's okay because, eventually. And if I'm not here, you'll find me over at Mini Terrain Domain and Dice on Ice and all sorts of places. Tonight, I get to play Cameron Diego Ruiz y Gonzala, and I cannot wait to get back into this because, well, kind of in a pickle right now, I think. And with that, I will pass it on to Guillaume.
Hello all. I'm Austin. I'm not online. I have no online presence. Continue on. I'm going to be playing Guillaume, our lovable prick, who is very worried / aroused to see what happens tonight. So yeah, this is gonna go very poorly for someone, I'm sure, and I hope it's not us.
Oh, you guys are breaking it up on me. All right, I see it.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to pass
cool.
it along.
I just need to.
Okay, wait. Let me make sure.
Do you want to?
Yes.
Okay.
To M.
Hello, I'm Em. I am part of Dice on Ice, and we don't have anything going right now, but you can mostly find me on Mini Terrain Domain every Monday and Thursday. And tonight I will be playing Sylvia Levine, who the lovable dressmaker who is almost got eaten last session, may get eaten this session, who knows. So excited to be back and to play. And yeah, I'll pass it on to Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt. I run a YouTube channel called A Fistful of Dice, and I make RPG books over at Absolute Tabletop. And tonight, as always, I will be playing Loxley LaCroix, who has finally been invited to a fancy dinner party, and it is not going great. So we'll see how things pan out for him here tonight. And I will pass it off to Kenya up here.
Hi, everybody. Kenya. On the interwebs, I'm Acer Sin on Twitch and the Twitters. Tonight I am playing Vera, the very lovely and talented madam of the local house of ill repute, but classy ill repute. Anyways, I too am at this dinner tonight, and unfortunately, a vile woman who has been quite the thorn in our side has decided to crash said party. So I'm kind of ready to, I don't know, throw a drink in her face and stab her with a fork or something. It'll be fun either way. I'm gonna sling it back over to Jeremy so we can get going.
All right. Thank all of you very much. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're all so worried about. Sincerely. I mean, it's just a party. No big deal. It just so happens that, you know, your hostess is a skeleton. You know, and the woman who just walked in may or may not be a vampire. So, I think everything's coming up roses, honestly. And I just can't wait to see all of you get what you deserve. I mean, well. All right, I think without any further ado, we're ready to get started. You ready? All right. There are people in our lives who are special to us. We may fail to understand just how these people fit into our lives and what they truly mean to us. However, just as we ourselves must change while walking the path of life, these people walk the paths of their own lives and must change as well. There are times when these special people may no longer fit into the life we have grown into. And so it is with a saddened heart that sometimes we must cease holding on to these people simply for the sake of what they may once have meant to us. We find the five of you seated around a large table in an opulent room. And this table is bedecked with all manner of finery, from the candelabras that are on just about every flat surface in here to the food itself that is succulent. It is delicious and has been very, very surprising, especially given that you are the only guests at this dinner party. Your hostess, the Condessa, has answered many of your questions, chiefly informing you that she knows pretty much everything about all of you and what you've been up to, and has even indicated that there may be some truth to some of your speculation. But it's as you're kind of realizing some of these connections are coming together that you hear the knock on the front door. You hear a voice, singular, interacting with the rather ghoulish doorman that all of you met whenever you came. And then you hear the telltale noise of heels clacking their way on marbled floors as a figure approaches the dining room that you are now sitting in. This could have been a ballroom in any other house in El Hidalgo, but it is merely the place where meals are consumed here. As the figure approaches the door to the dining room and announces her presence, you all turn to see that it is none other than Lavinia Strozzi herself. She smiles wryly, and as she does so, you can see one of the corners of her mouth showcasing a canine that is elongated. The flowing gown that she is dressed in was the dress that was similar, very similar to the dress that she has just commissioned Sylvie to make for her. So as she shows herself, she says, it seems as though my invitation was almost lost." She enters the room.
I unmuted my microphone like I know what to do. There's kind of an audible creak as Lox like starts to kind of push himself away from the table, and he's kind of like looking at everyone sort of alarmed. But specifically he looks to our hostess and obviously not searching her face for emotion, but like kind of trying to see how she's going to react to Lavinia walking in.
Yeah, again, trying to, just even look at her face, there's no perceptible change, as it is this merely, a painted skull with, a few teeth that have been replaced with gold. But just by her body language and her posture, you can see that she's trying to calculate what is going on. She's trying to get a read on this situation before she might fully react. However, she does say in that kind of practiced in social circles kind of way, "Well, I cannot say that we were expecting you this evening, Miss Strozzi." Lavinia smiles, and she walks over and pulls out a chair and sits down.
Guillaume will stand, just politely stand, and he'll actually head around the chair as she's walking towards it to pull it out for her.
She waits, perching almost like a bird of some kind, waiting for you to pull the chair out. And then when you do so, she looks at you and she smiles. She nods her head and then lowers herself into the chair, kind of sweeping her skirts forward.
I think the look that we all
lovely
made
as always.
I think the look that we all made right now is the look that our characters have made to each other.
Vera is actually going to cast prestidigitation and smack Guillaume up the back of the head. Let's give him like a whap around the back of his head.
He's gonna as surreptitiously as he can kind of try to shoot her a glance. But the look on his face is not like don't embarrass me. He's trying to communicate, and it's up to you how well you decipher this. I know what I'm doing, just trust me.
Yeah, she Vera just kind of sits there and just shakes her head. Then reaches out, grabs her glass of wine in front of her and takes a sip.
It has been some time since we have seen one another. Signor della Stote.
Oh, Lavinia, we're far past such proprieties. I think you can call me Guillaume. Have you become
Wonderful.
acquainted with this humble group here?
There are a
Sylvie,
few.
you know, obviously, I can tell from your resplendent attire.
Madame has talent, no doubt. She is exquisite.
Guillaume will return to his seat, but then next to he's left his cane like leaning up against the table, and before he sits down, he just grabs the cane and taps it on the floor, and that thin sheen of ice starts to smoke starts to like spread up his arm and over him, and not even trying to like hide it, just cast mage armor on himself, and then sits down. You're looking absolutely marvelous, of course. Yes, Sylvie's seen to that, but I have to say you're seeming a bit pale these days. Have you had some sort of dental work done?
Why, I thought that you have always loved my smile, Guillaume.
Yes, I suppose it just seems a bit sharp these days.
One must always keep sharpness in their mouth here in Gerdes.
He's kind of staring at her, like, and you can see that something in him is like coming to the point of snapping.
And you, Signor Locks, I believe it was? It has been some time since I have seen you as well.
Remind me, when did we last see each other?
Oh, you left in such a hurry. I can only. It must have been 2 months, 3 months ago? Was it? Perhaps I am confusing you with someone else.
Maybe. But I don't really have one of those faces.
And of course, Sylvie and Vera, was it?
Vera just kind of looks at her and yes.
It's wonderful to see both of you again so soon.
Hmm.
I apologize I had to leave in such a rush the other night.
It's fine. You weren't missed.
You see Sylvie like reflexively put her hand over the wrist that Lavinia had like held, like reflexively just kind of put it over, and I am a little how do I say worried that you left so quickly. I am afraid that I might have left a pin in your dress.
No, everything was perfectly fine. It's just a small matter I had to attend to at home.
I hope it wasn't anything too upsetting.
No, these things, unfortunately, they just happen in Aledago. It was, well, I was burgled. There was a robbery at my home.
That must have been so violating for you.
It was, indeed. It is not something I would wish upon anyone.
When did this happen? Was this before or after you framed me for murder?
Well, she seems like almost completely caught off guard, as if this was a surprise to her. I
I'm
don't
sorry.
even know
Were
how
you not
to address
expecting me?
such an accusation, Guillaume. Why would you jest this way?
Ah, yes. Just a jest. Just us continuing the same old game. Takes a deep moment, like a moment to compose himself. I have been driven to the brink of ruin by your actions. I don't need to hear you deny them. I know it was you. I know what you did. I don't know why you did it. Clearly, you've changed since we were together, and it seems like it's been nothing but helpful in your rise to power. But still, you need to throw my life out of order, completely destroy everything I have. So, yeah, no, I'm not playing our little game anymore. You're going to tell me exactly why you did it. And if there's anything else that you know, who's in on this?
I cannot in the faintest pretend like I know what you are talking about, Guillaume. But
How clearly
if
is
I
it? How
may-
clear is it that she's bullshitting us?
anybody who wants to can roll an insight.
I was just waiting for the pause.
Sorry, I thought
No,
there was a
no,
pause
no.
and there wasn't.
No, I didn't want to interrupt the awesomeness that was happening. 25 for me.
I'm going to use an inspiration because I don't like my chances. Oh, God. Well, never mind.
Okay. So, several of you rolled very well. Your gifts at reading people are on high alert. This is not uncommon when in society, among society in Gerdessi, but in Gerdes, but in particular right now. And while many of you harbor very strong suspicions about Lavinia's involvement in all of this, there is zero indication that she is anything but absolutely truthful in this moment. But if I may be so bold, Guillaume, you were never one for taking responsibilities for your own actions. You were always running back to your father, asking for him to help you, get you out of this mess or that mess. It is not surprising now that you would sling such allegations against me in an effort to try to once again shift the blame off of something that you have done that is questionable.
I found your mark on the letter. I found the letter, and still they came after me. You've got the entire Justicaros working for you. Why would you even need to frame someone for this?
Again, if there is something that you are trying to accuse me of, then I don't know, perhaps you should take it to the Justicaros.
Nah. Yes, of course. I'll just go turn myself into your personal army.
Personal army? Please. I barely know any of them.
Aren't you marrying the head of them?
Well, it might be a bit
Well,
presumptuous. And he is barely involved with the business of the Justicaros. He's much too busy with his affairs that keep him occupied with, the politics of the city.
She's just gonna stop. Vera's gonna stop for a minute, and she's gonna look over at the majority of the table to her side, and she's just gonna. Is she? I mean, is she for real about this? This is. She's marrying the lead Justicaro, but he's barely involved, and we're just supposed to be, oh, okay, Lavinia, it's great, even in your current state of unbeingness. We're fine with it. Lavinia, why are you here? You weren't invited, so why are you here?
But I was invited.
She's gonna look over at the Condessa.
Yeah, the Condessa shakes her head. No, my dear, I am afraid not. I sent no such invitation for you. Lavinia kind of takes her napkin, dabs, at the corners of her lips. No, forgive me, you misunderstand. The invitation that I got was from your courier. He invited me into your home. The Condessa says, do you mean the courier who has yet to return? Lavinia again smiles. He's not come back? My, that is very strange. I hope that he is okay.
Oh, I want to insight that. Please.
All right, Go ahead.
Okay, that's a 16.
Okay.
I'm just choosing not to believe it, regardless of what I into it.
All right. Anybody else?
I rolled an 18.
Mhm.
I got a 4.
4. Okay. Again, there's no indication that she is deceiving you with this information. Now, your expressions are warranted. You have come across things that would tell you otherwise. However, she is either unaware of whatever is going on that's connected to her, or she is exceptionally gifted at lying.
Well, I have to tell you, she's the best liar I've ever met. So if any of you are doubting yourselves because of what she's saying, I would completely ignore that and go with what you were first feeling about her. Guillaume's just saying this openly at this point.
You slander me so outrageously, sir.
I'm not doubting myself. I would never do that. It's more of I'm curious. Jeremy, I'd like to cast Detect Thoughts on her
Okay.
and start out with the kind of cursory stuff, but I'm actually just gonna. Vera just doesn't care at this point because she can't stand Lavinia, so she's just gonna go ahead and push right in and make her do the wisdom check, and kind of go digging around inside of her head if she can.
Okay. What is it? It's a wisdom save?
It's a wisdom 14 save.
14.
I'm probably gonna regret the shit out of this, but it's okay. It's a game. Let's go.
And it's the surface level thoughts first.
Surface level is free.
Then-
Yeah, there's no rule for it.
Okay. So surface level thoughts are, again, this mixture of hunger and desire. Is a very prominent thought. This almost feral, like carnal, almost like keeping it at bay kind of thing. And then there is definitely that need to be fast, need to be sharp, need to not slip up. You would know, like, if you read many of the people's minds that you interact with in Gerdes, that's not really an unusual thing at all. These people are on, if you will, all the time. And there is...
Oh,
Go
can I
ahead.
do one thing? That I forgot I can do?
Sure.
As I'm sitting here talking to her, can I use one of my bardic inspirations to make her roll a d8 and remove it from her saving throw?
Oh, wow.
I forgot I can do
Yeah.
that. I have unsettling words. Yeah. I would like to do that.
Let's see.
Oh, so glad I remembered that.
Okay, so that's what is your save again?
It is
DC?
a wisdom save of 14. And it's a d8 for the inspiration die.
Okay. So you're getting these surface level impressions from her. And you attempt to push deeper into her mind, and for a moment you, like, when you have you ever awoken when you were having like a dream where you were falling and you suddenly awake and you feel that sensation that you're actually like falling for just a split second? You feel that as you are rebuffed.
Damn.
And she looks at you, and you can see that kind of that sheen in the back of her eyes that animals get, like that reflects light. You get a flash of that as she narrows them at you.
Vera's just gonna lean back, pick up her wine glass, take it, and she's just gonna smile and wink at Lavinia.
Listen, you seem like a bright lady. I mean, you dumped Guillaume, so that's positive. But besides that fact, you are coming across as you are absolutely witless in your life right now. I just can't put these two images in my mind together. So what is it really? Are you really that clueless? Or are you just really good at pretending?
Clueless in what way?
Look, there we go again.
Senor?
You don't even know what we're talking about. You don't know anything about the courier. You don't know anything about the framing. You don't know anything about, well, pretty much anything.
Well, I do
He
know
doesn't know
that
any of the guards.
Guillaume has broken several laws and is therefore a criminal. And I'm sure that the
no.
rest of you, since you are sitting here having dinner with him, could probably also be implicated in such schemes.
Right.
Are we sitting here having dinner with Guillaume? I haven't seen Guillaume in such a long time. I don't recall the last time I saw Guillaume.
Yes, of course. It seems witlessness is contagious.
So, once again, Lavinia, why are you here? You haven't actually answered that. You distracted with talk of a missing courier and...
There was a chance to come and meet all of you in person all at the same time, as well as our lovely hostess. She turns and kind of raises the glass in her direction. The Condessa kind of grinds her teeth together. The Condessa stands up. I think that this has gone on for long enough. I am growing weary. Perhaps it is time for me to turn in. But I would wonder if Ms. Strozzi, if you would not please be the first guest to leave. She kind of levels at her. Lavinia again mocks surprise. Well, this was certainly not the engagement that I was hoping it would be. She kind of starts to push her chair back away from the table.
What were you hoping for? I'm really genuinely curious, Lavinia. Why are you here? What were you
Other
hoping
than to
for?
feed on a courier. I'm sure you could find a courier to feed on anywhere.
The only thing that I was looking for was some entertainment this evening. Now, if you will excuse me, I know when I am no longer wanted.
Oh, apparently
Well,
She
not,
that
turns
because
passed
you
against
showed
15
up.
minutes ago.
She sweeps her dress around and makes her way back out the door that she came.
You should, oh, never mind. Don't worry, dear. You're fine. I was going to tell her the dress made her look a little hippie.
I think Sylvie shoots you a very injured look.
I'm sorry. She makes the dress look hippie. I would have worded that differently. So as not to insult the dressmaker at the table.
She's never
Well,
known how to wear anything. She was always
I've
best at wearing nothing.
I've heard that about her. Thankfully, I seem to be one of the only ones that hasn't had that unfortunate experience to regret now.
Lavinia pauses at the door. She turns around and produces a vial of perfume as if she's about to spritz herself. I have never in all of my life met a more rude bunch of people.
Wait, she's still here?
She
I've
then
never met a vampire before. And I've never been
pitches...
framed for murder. We're all having a lot of firsts.
Hold on, Jeremy. As soon as she pulls something out and does that, I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to try, guys. I'm going to see if I can hold person her.
Okay.
Because she's pulling out a
Mm.
random bottle of perfume in the middle. Like, this is just
Hang on a
not.
second. Let me see something. Hold up. Okay. What kind of a saving throw do you need?
Another wisdom one,
Wisdom. Okay.
which she seems to be very good at. So, 14 again.
Okay. You cast this upon her. You can feel the normal, arcane tendrils, or however it is that it functions, kind of reaching out to try to connect. And it's almost like trying to grab a hold of something that is like coated in oil. It's almost like this spell isn't really able to even affect her. She kind of cocks her head again at you, giving you that kind of animalistic, that feral flash of the eyes before she underhand pitches this perfume bottle just a few feet in front of her, where it shatters on the floor. As it shatters on the floor, the perfume, pink and kind of this swirling mist, emits from the place where she's broken this bottle. But after a second, you realize that there's a lot more mist in that bottle than there probably should be. Just about the time that you think that, you see figures appear out of the mist. 4 of them, with bestial faces and mouths full of sharp fangs, their fingernails elongated into impossibly long, sharp talons. They look at all of you, and with their beady red eyes, and they're going to rush forward. So I need initiative rolls from everybody, please.
Guillaume will just sigh as they emerge. So the entertainment begins.
And we're the rude ones.
Okay. Oh, we got some good initiative rolls. Okay. What we got here? Lox is a 22. We've got Sylvie with a 19. Chimeran with an 18. Vera with a 13. And Guillaume, also a 21. All right. And G. All right. So, as it turns out, Lavinia actually beat Lox on initiative. So, one moment, please. You see, after this mist has started to spread enough, and these creatures have emerged, whoever it is of you that can still see Lavinia in the doorway to the dining room notices that she produces a necklace kind of from out of her dress. Some of you may have seen this necklace before. From this strange necklace, she reaches down and she says, "Grant me the gifts of the deep." This necklace produces a black pearl directly into her fingers. And as she gets this black pearl from this necklace, she then throws it to the ground, smashing it. And immediately, that side of the room is plunged into darkness. Lox, this is something that you have experienced firsthand. So, let's see here what the radius is on this stuff. Okay. So, this is what happens the moment that this pearl shatters. All non-magical sources of light are doused. You are under the effects of a darkness spell, a silence spell. The only noise that you hear currently is what sounds like you're underwater, deep underwater. Okay. And each of you is going to take 4 points of bludgeoning damage and 3 points of cold damage. As though you are not any wetter than you were before, you now feel the effects as if you were deep, deep underwater. The crushing of the pressure, the coldness, and the suppression of your senses is this kind of immediate impact as everything disappears from sight. Okay, Lox, you're up first.
So, and that that spell is affecting the whole room.
Yeah, the
Okay.
smallest is a 30-foot radius, so from the door. So probably at the very ends of the dining room, like
Right.
the long ways, you could probably escape it, but it's definitely going to cover across.
Okay. Man, and I can't. It's pitch black. Can't see at all.
Yes, pitch black.
Can't hear. Okay.
Correct.
You
are still seated at the table, so there's some, sensory input
right.
that you
I at
can
least
have
know
there.
which way is down. Yeah, because I'm sitting in a chair. I think I'm actually going to ready in action to if I detect, how do I want to word this? If I feel the presence of a creature who is not one of my allies, I would like to attack that creature.
Okay.
I don't know. Does that make sense at all? Like, basically, I'm just
Sure.
I want to stay put until I feel that something is near me.
Okay. So you're kind of
I think that's it.
straining against this oppressive, presence around you, this arcane plunge that you have taken. Trying to be as aware as you can for anything that might approach. All right. Next we have Guillaume.
Okay, so Guillaume, as soon as it goes dark, he takes a deep breath and just kind of whispers to himself, okay, now or never, come on. And he's going to just breathe as heavily, like try to like center himself as much as he can. He's almost trying to take a meditative stance. And he's going to just picture in his mind rat form, or like rat man form. And he's going to work like he doesn't know how it works yet. He hasn't had any training sessions. He's just going to focus his entire being on becoming Ratman. No. So that is what I'm going to work on doing. I'm just going to, because as of right now, he's not going to be able to hurt anybody very well, but he knows that if he's fought Ratmen before, and like they got some vicious moves, and maybe he can take advantage of that.
Okay. Make a God, I don't know what that would be. A wisdom save, I guess.
It'd be like animal handling. The animal
I handle
inside.
myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, what?
A wisdom save. So like use if I have the saving bonus, use it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ooh. That's a 19 on the die plus 3, so 22.
Okay. So, Guillaume, what is it like as you transform into another being for the first time?
So Guillaume has this picture in his mind, and he's holding it and focusing all of himself on it. And the first thing he feels is sort of like a tingling in his his fingers and toes, and they start to feel like they're like being pulled on, and that pull starts to feel like he hears it, even though he can't like hear it. He like hears it through his body of the like cracking, and it feels like at first it feels like it's being like broken temporarily, and then starts to heal pretty quickly, but it still like he feels the breaks as his body starts to kind of elongate and misshape itself. And he starts to that heightened sense of smell gets even more heightened. He starts to sniff around to the, like, he can smell all the food that was going to be prepared. Like, he knows exactly what they were going to be served, and like how many dishes of each there were, and he wants it. Like, he, more than he has ever felt hunger before, he's like, he wants to eat that food because it smells so good. But he also has like this adrenaline burst of kind of like, there are other predators around, and I need to defend what is now my turf. Like, this just bestial instinct that starts to overcome his, like, most of his thoughts. That's like, I need to rip these things apart that are threatening my brood, my pack.
Okay. Although you have been through this monumental moment, this literal change, literal metamorphosis, no one is able to witness it. And Guillaume, you are in the. Are you doing the hybrid form or the rat form?
The hybrid form.
Hybrid form. Okay, perfect. So you feel yourself somewhat smaller framed in this chair. And are you just going to remain seated?
No, I want to scurry under the table, probably like brushing the legs of whoever's on the other side. Might freak them out at first.
Is it Locks?
But no, I think he was next to me.
Okay, fair.
You might hear some movement, or like feel some movement next to you.
Yeah, you feel something crawling under the table.
Yeah,
that rushes past your legs.
And I want to try to see if I can sniff these things out, because if they can, I'm just gonna like start pouncing and biting, ripping with teeth and claw.
Okay, do me a favor and roll perception. And you can have advantage, actually. I don't know if rats normally get it for smell or not, but this is a particular.
My dice are kind of on fire tonight. Perception it's only going to be flat die for me, so that's 15.
Okay,
it's not terrible.
So you smell one that is not far away. That seems to be closing with where you think Lox was seated. The reason that you can smell these things so easily is they smell very heavily of a perfume.
Would I still have time to attack after taking the time to turn?
I think turning is an action typically whenever that kind of stuff goes on. So
yeah, that's what I thought. Mm-hmm. So I'll just kind of put myself in between these things and my friends who are still seated at the table.
Okay, and do you have the write-up for the were-rat?
I don't, but I'm sure I can find it.
Okay, good deal. Should be in the first master manual. We can just use that for tonight until we can come up with a rat form of Guillaume. Okay, that was Guillaume. Okay. None of you can see it or hear it, but okay. That was her turn. Sylvie, it is your turn.
All right. All right. So, Sylvie is going to grab the first thing that she can on the table. And I imagine it's probably like a plate or something. And she holds it in her hand. And as she does so, you can feel the thrumming of magic as she is going to use her magical tinkering to cause this plate to magically light up. So now it has a 5-foot radius, which I believe because it's magical, it goes through the darkness spell.
It depends on what level it was cast at.
It's an ability that I have. So I'm not sure.
Interesting.
It's called magical tinkering. I can imbue an object with a magical property, which is 5 radius light, record a message, odor.
Huh. Okay. So yeah, I guess technically because the way that darkness reads is no non-magical light gets extinguished, or this particular thing says non-magical light sources get extinguished and is under darkness. So I'm gonna read darkness real quick, but it probably will.
Yep.
Darkness, magical darkness, blah 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 blah. Spreads around corners. Dark vision can't see through it, and non-magical light can't illuminate it. So yeah, that sounds like it works to me. Okay.
Sweet. Awesome. Just gonna slide it down the table towards where they like originally saw the scary dudes, and hopefully light up with now it has a 5-foot radius, so 10 feet diameter.
Okay, excellent. So it's this weird, like, it's again almost like seeing a light from underwater. It's, you know, it's almost like the darkness is trying to warp the way that the rays of light are coming out from this device, and you kind of slide this, you know, plate kind of down the table, and it does that thing in horror movies whenever, you know, the flashlight hits the floor and spins. It kind of illuminates, you know, these terrors for just a brief moment, as they're kind of rushing all of you seated at the table. But it kind of gets down to the end and illuminates out, like you said, about 10 feet of light, kind of, so the end of the table is kind of bathed in this very soft light that it seems like is trying to be snuffed out almost physically by the darkness.
And then who is sitting beside Sylvie? She's gonna reach out and grab the one person that is there.
Chimaran probably would have been sitting beside you. Yeah.
Cool. So she reaches out to you, Chimaran, puts her hand on your shoulder, and you know, I never did like the darkness, and she's gonna cast Sanctuary as a bonus action on you.
Okay. Does Sanctuary require verbal components?
Ooh, good question.
Yep.
Yes, it does. So never mind.
Okay. Yep. All right. So you maybe you start to speak to try to utter the spell to bring it into existence, but you very quickly realize that you can't form words that you can hear. Okay. Are you staying seated?
No, I think Sylvie's gonna stand.
Okay. Are you then moving anywhere?
No. She's
Okay, so just stand beside your chair or whatever. Okay.
Yep.
All right. It is Sylvie. Chimaran.
Okay. So I just want to get the lay of the land. The entire room is in silence as far as we can tell, and darkness.
Yes.
Right. But now there is a beacon of light. Can I see anything around? Like, is it illuminating anything that I can see at this point?
So as of right now, you can see the things that were set at the end of the table. You know, the backs of chairs, empty place settings, the candelabras where the candles are no longer, lit, things of that nature. And you think that you catch like movement out of the corner of, or not the corner because it's a sphere, but out of the edge, the periphery of the sphere of light. You think you see things moving, and they're definitely coming closer to you.
Okay, I would like to somehow. I want to make sure that Sylvie is behind me, more towards the light part, and I want to go towards the edge of the darkness and ready in action. With I pulled out these daggers that I would have hidden on my body. Ready in action to attack the first creature that I actually see, even if it's momentarily.
Okay, so you are basically backing up to the edge of Sylvie's light source.
Yeah, and keeping Sylvie behind me. I want Sylvie to be.
Okay, Sylvie, are you willing to be
Sylvie.
moved? Yes. Okay. All right. So you kind of, put one hand out or whatnot, and kind of, bump backwards as you kind of, fall back to the edge of this light. The intention is to stand within the light.
Yes, within the light.
Okay.
But such that I would have reach to attack anything that I could even see remotely.
Okay.
At the edge
Gotcha.
of darkness there.
Within arm's reach of the darkness.
Yeah.
Okay. So you fall back kind of until you're bathed in this kind of golden light that is kind of pushing back against the darkness. And again, like if you look at the barrier where these two things meet, there's almost this like ebb and flow, this give and take of the darkness and the light almost fighting a battle with one another, kind of right here at the edge of the diameter of Sylvie's light source. Vera, it is your turn.
Vera's going to kind of imagine that as she saw this vial and she tried to hold person Lavinia to stop her from doing something, she probably would have stood up at the table, and so she's probably already standing. She's going to like kind of step up on the table, and she's going to try to like touch everybody and get their attention, and she's going to pull out her necklace with that big diamond on it, and she's going to kind of try to show it to everybody and motion that we have to get out of this silence area, and she's going to try to get everybody to get away from here. And that's pretty much all she's just going to try to indicate to everybody through charades like we need to get out of here. So
yeah, not everybody will be able to see you because of the darkness. But
Okay.
if you move down to the light, then at least you know that Chimera and Sylvie have seen you. And I would say, even though still in silence, with the way you've described what you're doing and the clear message that you're trying to get across, I would say that both of you have no problems understanding what Vera was getting at. But
does
Loxin-
moving down to the light put me closer to the creatures that are coming for us?
No, further from.
Okay,
Well-
cool.
Yeah, it would be further from.
Okay, as long as it puts me further from them, then I'll do it. Because if it puts me closer to them, then absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what she's gonna do. That's her entire thing that she has that she can do.
Okay. Guillaume, from even under the table, you can see the light kind of at the other end. Since you were rushing towards these things, you're kind of running away from this light source, but you can kind of see where the light kind of spills over the sides of the table, kind of casting this almost like trapezoidal shape of darkness underneath the table. But you can see it back behind you. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely panics for a brief moment, like a moment of normal Guillaume thought slips in to this kind of bestial rage, and he immediately realizes like, oh God, they're all gonna see me like this. Oh God, Lavinia is gonna see me like this.
Okay. There are 4 of these creatures. And given that currently Guillaume is under the table, the 4 of them are going to come for the 4 of you who are not underneath the table. We're just going to roll in the same order as initiative. Okay. Roll me, Lox, an insight check at disadvantage. Insight or perception. I would take either.
They're both not great, so.
Okay.
Right. 2 on the first roll. 3 on the second. All right, so that's a total of 1 and 2 altogether.
Oh, no. Okay, so you are trying your damnedest to reach out into this sensory deprivation that you have found yourself in, and it's just not helping. You've struck out a couple of times into the darkness to meet with nothing, or maybe even just the edge of a chair. Nothing has proven to be helpful in this situation. And then just in a moment of lapse, one of these creatures leaps on you and is going to just begin trying to absolutely tear into you. All right. This first one is a claw attack. What is your AC?
I'm actually going to ask. Oh no, a readied action uses your reaction. Never mind. I was going to say, can I cast shield? But I already used my reaction to ready an action.
I think it only casts. I think it only takes your readied action or your reaction when it triggers.
If it triggers, so I technically still have my reaction.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, then I would love to cast shield.
Okay.
Which will bump my armor class up to a number that will be
hopefully a good one.
+5. So 21 until my next turn.
Okay. However, he did still hit.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay. So you're going to take slashing damage as these ridiculously long taloned nails kind of find purchase on you. You're going to take 6 points of slashing damage. And then the second attack from him. Okay. It is still a hit. But with his second swipe, he yeah, with the second swipe, he is going to forego doing damage on you, and instead you are grappled. He grabs a hold of you and rakes you with this first set of talons, and then he grabs a hold of you with the wounds that he just caused and just kind of squeezes, holding on to you. All right, next up, Guillaume, you said you were out from under the table, so we'll do this then. 1 or 2 they go after Guillaume. 3 or 4 that are going to bypass Chimeran and try to get to Sylvie. Okay. So Guillaume, you had smelled one out and had come out from under the table. By the time that you had climbed out from under the table, it had started putting distance between the two of you. Let's see. This one is okay. Suddenly, from the other direction of the darkness, from the light, one of them leaps forward and is going to try a attack against Sylvie. Sylvie, what is your AC? Oh, sorry.
Does that trigger my readied action to attack as soon as I can see one?
They came from the other side, so if you want to like throw a dagger, you could do that. Something that would be ranged, or if you have reach by chance.
Oh, I'll throw. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah. 15 to hit.
Okay, yeah, that'll hit.
For 6 points.
And is this a magical dagger?
It's just a dagger.
Just a normal dagger. Okay, so it's going to take half of that. All right, so you almost on pure instinct, like turn around, and just as you turn around and see this creature emerge from the darkness on the other side of Sylvie from you, you throw this dagger, and Sylvie, you basically just see this dagger come like hurling straight over your shoulder, and embeds itself into the shoulder of this creature as it closes with you. But it seems to take it, back half a step, but not any more than that. What is your AC, Sylvie?
12.
12. Okay. Okay. So it's going to hit you with its claw, but unlike the attack that just happened against Lox, instead of trying to deal damage, it is simply going to grapple you. And then it is going to use its second attack to attempt to bite you.
Ruh-roh. Okay.
Okay. All right, so you are going to take piercing damage of 5. But then you take 8 points of necrotic damage. And that is going to be subtracted from your hit point maximum for now. As this thing grabs a hold of your, like, the strings on your corset or something, and just gets a good hold of you, pulls you in close, and skips all of the foreplay, if you will, that Lavinia was practicing on you, and goes straight in for your neck, and just bites down, and you feel this almost like the tongue of a cat kind of in amongst that wound, just doing what you would imagine it's doing as it's consuming your life essence.
As this is happening, you hear Guillaume.
Me, Chimera. Maybe Guillaume too, but
sorry. Yeah. I forgot who it was.
No worries. In this campaign, no way. All right, that was.
What can I say? Everybody wants to be me.
Chimeran, as you're turning around, screaming in futility, as you kind of watch this happen in the light of Sylvie's illuminated plate, one of them is going to come out of the darkness, taking the advantage of your lapse in judgment, and is going to try to attack you. Same story, going to attempt the claws first. What is your AC?
15.
And misses. You feel these talons rake through your, like, the back of your armor or your clothing, whatever it is that you're wearing, and it makes you kind of leap forward, half a step or so, enough that they are not able to do more than just kind of scratch against the outside of your armor. It's going to attempt a second strike, again with the claw. That one, however, is going to hit, and they're going to forego doing damage to you so that you are grappled. Grabs a hold of you the second time and begins to try to pull you closer to it. All right, that was Sylvie. Oh, that was Chimeran. And okay, that was 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that was only 3. Vera, the last one has come for you. Is going to reach out and try to attack you with its claws first. What is your AC?
13.
Okay, that's going to hit. It is likewise going to forego its damage so that it can grapple you. Then it is going to try to get a taste of Vera. All right. It bites into your neck. And you feel again that raspy, almost file of a tongue lapping at your wounds. You're going to take piercing damage to the tune of 9 points and a whopping 11 points of necrotic damage, which reduces your overall hit point total. Okay. That was the last of the vampires. We are back to the top of the round. Locks.
Lox is grappled by this thing, so I imagine he's sort of he's still in this chair and this thing is on top of him, so I imagine that Lox is kind of like the chair falls backward as he kind of scoots away from the table, and so he ends up pinned under this thing, and with one arm he's kind of holding it just at a distance enough where its teeth are kind of like closing right in front of his face, and there's no sound, and so it's just kind of this muffled, like almost like he's like pushing a shark away underwater, and with his hand he just kind of reaches into the open air, and we cut to the Castillo, and up the stairs in the room where Lox has been staying under the bed is the sword in its sheath, and we see it kind of clattering on the ground, and then in an instant it becomes light and it's flying out the window and across the town and over the city of Aladago in just like an instant, a split second, and this light enters the Contessa's house and manifests as the sword in Lox's hand, and he's going to try and drive it into this thing that is grappling him.
All right.
I get 2 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grappled. Does that give me disadvantage on attacks?
It does not.
Okay,
Unless you're restrained.
Awesome. All right. First attack, 18 on the die, plus 7, so 25 to hit on the first attack.
Absolutely will hit.
Dope. I'm going to go ahead and roll the second attack as well before I roll damage, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Second attack is 11 on the die, 18 total.
Yep, also hits.
Awesome. Okay, so 1d8 plus 6 twice. Let's go ahead and roll 2d8s here. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 6 is 18 damage from a silvered weapon as I just drive the blade into this thing's side, kind of slipping it between ribs, malformed ribs.
Does this count as magical?
It does. It's it is a +1 weapon as well. Yes.
Excellent. So they will take all of that then. You said it was 15?
18.
18.
Yeah.
Good grief. All right. So yeah, you summon, plunge this blade into this thing's torso between its ribs, and it rears back its teeth kind of towards the ceiling in a howl that you cannot hear, and looks down at you with these blood red eyes, and you can see the ferocity and the malice reflected in them even more than before. Okay, Guillaume.
All right. At this point, I've drawn my dagger, and I am going to. I've got my quarry. It's the one I smelled. I don't care who he's gone after. He's the one I'm locked onto now.
Sure. Okay.
And I'm going to just run at him and try, to scurry more like, and try to just stick the dagger into him, and then go for a bite to the neck, chest, face area, anywhere up there. Just try to like rip him apart with my amazing teeth.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll say that the
Ooh.
one that you have run up with is the one that is currently attacking Chimeran.
Okay. Well, that's gonna be a 22 on the dice.
Okay.
Or not on the dice, 22 overall.
Yeah,
I'm
that'll
sorry, I'm using my
definitely
D30.
hit. A 22, a natural 22. Yeah, that'll definitely hit.
Double crit. Okay. And then I'm gonna roll the bite too.
Okay.
Less good. Less good. That's is the I gotta see what the bite is controlled by. It's +4. Okay, yeah, that's only gonna be a 8. I don't think that's gonna hit.
No, that will not.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then 3 points of damage, or 4 points of damage, sorry, for the wait, no. 3 points of damage for the stabbing.
Okay, and this is just a normal dagger?
Yeah, just a normal dagger.
Okay. All right. Though you plunge the dagger in true, it does not go quite as far as you might have hoped. These things seem to be resilient creatures. Okay. That was Guillaume. Okay. Suddenly, the area is thrust into brilliant daylight. As your eyes adjust to the very sudden shift in the lighting in the room, if you look, you can see the Condessa standing near where she was at the head of the table, further back towards the edge of the room, and she has her hands thrust outwards, and the curtains on the windows are thrown open. The 2 or 3 windows against the one wall, and though you know that it is nighttime outside, there is daylight that is beaming in through these windows. It is bathing the entire room in light. All of you can now see perfectly fine. However, the darkness, or the silence, is still persisting.
Yeah, this bright light really hits Guillaume. Like he staggers just briefly, as his eyes are just fully dilated for the dark, and he's in half rat mode. And it seems to like kind of catch him off guard.
Damn it. One of the things that I forgot to do. All of you, by still being in this crushing underwater-ness, you're going to take 5 points of bludgeoning and 2 points of cold damage. Okay. It is now flooded in light. Everybody who looks now notices that there is a giant were-rat in the room with you. But it's cool. Seems to be on your team.
He's wearing Guillaume's clothes. They're a little bit loose on it.
Oh, that is true. Sylvie, it is your turn.
So Sylvie's grappled.
Yes.
Right, at the moment. Yeah, I guess she's gonna try and break free from the grapple.
Okay, so you can roll acrobatics or athletics.
It's a 4.
A 4? Okay. Struggle as you might to free yourself from this creature's grasp. You are unable to do so. It has a firm hold of you. Is there anything you would like to do bonus action-wise?
Sylvie's going to use her free actions to curse into the silence. So she's just cursing and
That's fair.
you can't hear
That's a free
anything.
action, though.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. All right. Chimeran.
Oh, seeing that Sylvie is still grappled, I think that's his priority at this point. So we are going to try to break free from this grapple so that he can help her not die. So I'm going to score my way out using acrobatics.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Alrighty.
Oh, 19.
Okay. Describe how it is that you escape from the clasp of this creature.
I think it's like the creature's probably coming in for another bite, and its focus is kind of on that, and Chimeran goes with it, and so he kind of leans in a direction that the creature is not expecting a little bit, and as such it loosens the grip, and he at that point slithers down. It's almost like bodies shouldn't do this. He's kind of like double jointed or something. It was the same kind of effect that he had trying to go through that tiny little gate, the bars in the gate on that other in the sewers there. It's just, if you could really watch him, it almost hurts to see as he kind of pops out a joint here or there or somehow, and he's out of this grasp just as the creature is probably closing in on the air where his neck used to be. And I would like to get to Sylvie at this point.
Yeah, the two of you were not far from one another at all.
No. And it's an action to break grapple, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so I am now beside Sylvie, ready to help next turn.
Okay. All right, that was Chimeran. Vera.
Vera's dead. That last silence thing killed her. So.
Okay, so then you need to roll a d20, please.
And 13.
Okay, so that is one good death save. So those of you who are now able to see can see that Vera is, you were on the table, right?
Yeah, she was up on the table trying to get everybody to get out.
So Vera is like laid out on the table. There's like a candelabra that's knocked over or something.
I'm still grappled by the vampire that's feeding on her. Right?
It's all so true.
Yeah, I'm like getting the chewy chomped.
That's all so true.
You're limp in his arms. Ah.
It's not that romantic.
He seems to think it is.
And it is the vampire's turn. All right. So, we're going to do the same thing we did in the beginning. We're going to start at the top, work our way down. Locks, the first one is the one that is on you. You did not escape grapple. So, he is going to attempt a bite. What was your AC again?
16.
Okay. He lands his gnarly, elongated knife-like teeth into the flesh of your neck and takes a bite out of crime. You're going to take 5 points of piercing, 7 points of necrotic damage that comes off of the top of your HP. Okay. Next up is the one that is on Sylvie. Sylvie, you are still grappled, so it is going to attempt to merely bite you. Okay. You're going to take 8 points of piercing damage and 5 points of necrotic damage.
Yeah, Sylvie slumps down into like the hold of this creature as Sylvie falls as well.
Okay. The next one is the one that is trying to follow Chimeran. Let's see if he is going to go after Chimeran or come after Guillaume. Guillaume, after you have stabbed this creature, it rounds on you and is going to lash out at you. First with its claws. What is your AC?
15, because I'm assuming my mage armor carried over through the transformation.
I imagine it would.
Okay. Then 15.
Okay. So
unless
the claws
let me see,
miss
yeah,
you
it's
the
better
first time. And they're going to make a second attempt. However, that one is going to bypass. They're going to refrain from doing damage and instead are going to grapple you as well. Okay. The last one is the one that is on Vera. Vera, it is going to drink from you freely.
Yep.
That is going to be a failed death save.
It's 2.
It's just a bite.
Yeah, but I'm like out. When you're out, it's automatic 2.
To get
It's
hit?
an automatic crit. Yeah. For death saves.
It is an automatic
Yep.
critical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is 2 lost then. Furthermore, your hit point total is reduced by another 10 points.
That may have just killed me.
So it's not a second hit.
No, but
just
it may
drain off
have
the top.
reduced my hit
It's
points
only
down to
if
0.
It's only if you go to your hit point total into the negatives with 1 hit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because right now you're just at 0.
Right, but you're reducing my max HP at the same time with the necrotic.
Oh, yes.
And when that gets to 0, that will kill me.
That is true. If that gets down to 0, that
Yeah.
can do it. Okay.
So you said that was another 10?
Necrotic?
Yeah.
I think it was 7? I don't remember. I'll reroll it.
I mean, I'll take the 7 over the 10. Okay with that.
Okay. That'll work. Okay.
Yep.
That was the
Okay.
last of them for the round. Okay. You can see, but not hear, several of these skull-faced bodyguards of Katrina kind of burst into the room and immediately start making their way, almost kind of plodding run as they make their way towards the nearest of these creatures. All of them look exactly like the one that you met at the door. They're large of stature. They have these strange suits, almost like these fitted suits that they wear that look like musculature, over their frames. And many parts of the suit and their skull all look like they've been decorated with soot of some kind. Okay, that brings us back to Locks.
I'm going to try and escape the grapple.
Okay, so
Which
acrobatics or
is
athletics from you.
acrobatics or athletics. Okay, cool. Acrobatics for sure. 15 on the die, 21 total.
Okay. So this thing gives you a hell of a fight. You only barely manage to break free of its grasp.
And then that's my action. But
Yes.
I am going to action surge. And I'm going to attack with my sword.
Okay. Yeah.
Here's first attack. Oof. Nat 1.
Oof. Do you have inspiration?
Inspiration.
Yes, I'm going to use inspiration. Please
Okay.
don't help me. Okay, 7 on the die. Plus 7, so 14 on the first attack.
That is a miss.
Okay. Oh my god. What the hell, dice? And then a 10 on the second attack. I cannot believe I just wasted my action surge. I'm a fighter. It's precious to me. It's the only cool thing I can do. Oh, okay. All right. That's my turn, though. I'm not grappled anymore.
Yeah, you kind of shake the grasp of this this creature and turn around and swipe with your blade, trying to almost keep it at bay from you. Meaning these attacks, but just not quite managing to land a blow yet. They have all kind of jumped back from you. The thing that you have all, not all of you, that the four of you are now seeing is that this sunlight is burning these creatures. The daylight that is now flooding into this room is causing their skin, any exposed skin, to smoke and turn black before your very eyes. Okay. Guillaume.
Seeing as I am grappled, Guillaume will go very still and he will take that deep breath again and he will focus this time on just the image of a rat. And he's going to try to test his luck and try to transform again, this time into a rat, hoping that he'll be able to kind of, shrink out of this guy's grip and drop to the floor and scurry somewhere else.
Okay. So let's get another will save. Or wisdom, rather.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Do you have
Inspiration?
inspiration?
I'm out of inspiration.
Oh,
I
no.
spent it on something stupid earlier. So that's gonna be 6.
Okay. You try your hardest to force another change, and it just doesn't happen. You stay in this hybrid form. You might even have that sinking sensation that you may be stuck like this.
He has like a moment of hope as he feels like this tiny rat tail seem to like pop out, but then it just immediately like absorbs back into the were-rat form, and he realizes like, oh fuck, what have I done?
Okay. All right. For those of you still in the waking world, you can see the Condessa has drawn a sword from near the corner of the room someplace innocuous and out of the way, she has strode towards the nearest of these creatures, and she attacks it ferociously. Her blade quickly cleaves parts of this creature off, and the creature again turns its face upwards, howling in pain as she reduces it to nothing more than pieces and ashes on the floor. Within moments, the entire thing goes up in flames and silently burns here on the floor of her dining room. Sylvie, it is your turn.
Here we go. Let's saving throw. It's 15.
Okay. One good death save. Chimeran, it is now your turn.
Oh, I am attacking this thing. It's grappling and eating Sylvie. Do I get advantage when I attack him? I'm not sure on that one because he's a grappler.
Yeah,
or Is
probably.
it just regular? Okay.
Yeah, because I mean
perfect.
they're not standing up. They're laid out on the ground or whatever.
Okay, I am attacking him with a dagger. I am going to use inspiration to make sure I hit this thing. Okay, so that'll be a 15 to hit.
That will hit.
Oh, perfect. Thank goodness. Okay, and sneak is happening. Oh, I was supposed to be doing that at advantage. So I didn't use inspiration. Sorry. Silly me. Silly
Yeah, keep your point.
I know how to play this game. Oh, I like that. There's a bunch of sixes. Okay, so that is 14 plus 4, 18 points of damage with the dagger.
Okay, and this is a normal one.
And if
this
it
is the one. It's on Sylvie. Go ahead.
and if it is still alive-ish
It
or
is.
undeadish or whatever, I'd like to, with my offhand, use my bonus action to pull out the other dagger that I did hit it with when I threw it, and hit it again, or try to.
Okay.
Oh, that is a 22 to hit
Will hit.
for another 6 points.
Okay. It is still alive, but you have gotten this thing's attention,
Good.
and it no longer seems intent to just hang out and snack. Oh, okay. Vera, my darling. Death save, please.
19.
Okay, that's 2 good saves, 2 bad saves. It is the vampires' turns. One of them has been dealt with, the one that had attempted to attack Chimeran from behind. So we'll take that into account when we get there. The one that is still with locks. You managed to break free and then have a flurry of attacks in its direction. It is going to attempt to come at you. Oh, wait. Before I do that, they need to take their radiant damage. They need to take the vitamin D. Okay. 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 So, It is still alive, but this thing is on fire. Locks. Everything that is cloth of this creature has burst into flames, and any skin that it has the look of charcoal. It's cracked and completely matte black in color. As it continues to rake attacks at you and try to get to you, pieces at its joints are crumbling away and causing soot and ash to fall from it. Oh my god. I just rolled 2 1s. Okay. I'm gonna take a note from what Jake does sometimes. Matt, you can have a free attack on this thing.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, cool. I will absolutely do that. Not using that D20 again. Oh man. Okay. 11.
Okay. Unfortunately, not a hit. But it stumbles trying to get to you. The swipe of its hand kind of hitting against one of the chairs that's kind of pulled up next to the table, and several of the talons just snap and break, hitting the floor and just turning to ash. It is going to attempt a second attack on you. And that one is still going to manage to hit. However, it is not going to try to grapple you again. It's just going to go for damage. That's going to be 9 points of... 9? Yeah, wait. Yeah, 9 points of slashing damage.
I'm down.
Okay. One by one, each of you is falling beneath the horrifying barrage of these creatures. Guillaume, the one that you are engaged with, was just toasted. So, the one that was on Sylvie is still alive.
But angry at me.
That's true. It did pull off against Chimeran. So, okay. Chimeran is going to come at you with a claw. What is your AC?
Sorry, 15.
15. Okay. It is going to forego doing damage and is instead going to grapple you. And then it is going to attempt to bite. Okay. It tries to latch onto your neck, but apparently something to do with the armor you're wearing, the clothing that you have, it has managed to keep this thing from actually drawing blood from your neck. Okay. The one that is on Vera. Vera, you don't realize this, but this thing has left you and has run to close with the Condessa, attempting to attack her. Okay. Not succeeding in grabbing a hold of her. That is the last of the vampires. The bodyguards are coming in. I'm going to do this as one roll. Okay. The bodyguards move up to these creatures and they handily grab a hold of them, grabbing onto their arms, their waists, their legs, paying absolutely no attention to the slashes that come from the talons of these smaller creatures. They very quickly grapple them and restrain them. Locks. Back to you.
Okay. I gotta make a death save.
Yeah.
17 on my first one. That's one
Okay.
success.
That is a good success. All right. Guillaume.
Okay, so the one on me is gone. It kind of roasted up as it was holding me.
Yes.
I want to just take a moment to brief this moment to just survey my companions. Is how obvious is it that Vera is like the most severely wounded? Like, I'm guessing she's like
Vera-
bleeding from the neck and laying
Yes.
down.
Like, you can actually see blood spurting from the side of Vera's neck.
Vera looks
Okay.
more raw than the steak that we were getting served for dinner.
Yeah,
Like,
then I think that'll be enough. That'll be enough for Guillaume to now that all the actual threats are gone. I'm assuming Lavinia has already gone out the door.
You have not
but-
seen her since the darkness.
Yeah, so I will. He will go ahead and rush towards Vera and just start pouring one of his health potions down her throat.
Okay. 2D is a normal one?
Yes.
Okay. 2d4 plus 2, I think.
Do you want to roll that, Vera?
no, you can roll it.
All right.
It's your potion.
That's gonna be 3 plus 3 plus 2, so 8.
8.
Although I don't know if you have that much maximum health. You might have 3.
Current HP is 8. Okay. You've almost hit my max.
No. Okay. Vera, where did you go as this darkness was setting in around you? And what is it like as you are abruptly removed from that?
I think the initial bite that Vera felt, and maybe the first initial like glimpse of the blood kind of pouring out of her throat, like spraying out as she got bit, it kind of sent her back into this memory from when she was really young, like younger than the last memory that she had, where she was trying to comfort the twins when they were even younger than her, and big back when she was probably maybe 5 or 6 years old, and the blood, she had this memory of her parents and her parents kind of running through the woods outside of this city and seeing something flying through the air and hitting her mother, and seeing all of this blood kind of go flying out into the darkness and it making her panic. And so she just turned and ran away from where this fight was happening and into this darkness. And I think that the darkness that kind of overtakes her as she's being drained, it's almost like her childhood self kind of running off into the woods and just into the blackness and the darkness and not being able to see. It's probably a large part of the reason why she was so easily overcome in this entire fight, was that instantaneous drop of just pitch blackness around her kind of started to send her into these horrible memories. And it's just the last thing she remembers before she hits the table is curling up behind a giant like boulder that she found out in the woods. And then as she's coming to and she's getting this potion shoved down her throat and her eyes kind of start to focus and she sees rat form Guillaume kind of feeding this thing to her, she panics and she turns, and her her head catches the red tablecloth, and something in her mind says, but this red tablecloth, no, we were at a dinner. The tablecloth here it was pristine, it was white, it was beautiful. But underneath her, it's just completely covered in her blood, and it's this vibrant, rich red now. And then her kind of shocked mind goes to the very last thing she remembers seeing, that's the red, and she sees Ella's outfit that she wears when she's the Justacaro, and it kind of all pours back into herself. And as she kind of wakes up and starts and sees Guillaume and gets this vision of Ella, and then she sits herself back up and she looks around. She sees the Contessa, but for just a moment, the Contessa is the old madam of the Castillo. And I think she kind of looks at Guillaume again and just whispers the words "thank you" and just collapses back down onto the table.
Guillaume, you see all of this play out in an instant in front of you. And then, just as she had awoken, Vera goes unconscious again in your arms.
He'll hold like he'll just press his hand to her neck where she's bleeding from, and try to like pour the last like drops of the potion out onto the wound itself. And he'll take a quick glance around to see, you know, who else is injured, if anyone else is unconscious. And like realizing that he's done what he can for her, he's going to try to move on to I feel like he'd probably go, oh boy, this is tough. I want to say he's like, all right, let me real quick. All right, he's going to go for Sylvie first. Thinking like Lox can probably take care of himself if he's a big tough bastard. If he can't survive getting knocked out, then Sylvie certainly can't.
You do realize Chimeran's already over Sylvie. Right? It's like we're just leaving Lox.
The bromance is over.
Well, wait, is Chimeran? I thought
First
you
rough
said Chimeran
patch.
was still like struggling with.
Yeah, I'm
Lox.
not. Did they kill everybody, or is Chimeran there with?
They don't. Yeah, right now the bouncer bodyguard people have these creatures restrained in their hands.
Oh shit! Well, then I'm assuming I'm actually probably right next to Lox, so I would probably go for him first if Chimeran is right there for Sylvie. I misunderstood the situation. I thought
No,
that
I don't want your
Chimeran was
potion.
otherwise.
If I'm second choice, I don't even want the potion. I'll just
Hey,
make my
it's-
saves.
How does this
It's
potion
honestly a
taste?
compliment.
Like
It's a
guilt.
compliment.
Hey, you know what, Lox? You can have an inspiration for that save.
Thank you.
I'll take care
Okay.
of you, buddy.
No,
Okay,
please
so
save my
I
life.
will
I will take the
I-
potion.
Yeah, I will go for Lox and give him my last potion. Actually.
All right, 2d4 plus 2.
All right. Ooh, not quite as good. So 5 points overall.
I'll take it.
Okay. Lox, where did you go as you drifted into this darkness and then were abruptly yanked back?
I think Lox is maybe surprised by where he goes. He sees leaves kind of fluttering on the air, and he expects to turn and see his family's courtyard and the sun-baked white stone, the same white of the bark of this olive tree that has stood there for centuries. But as he stands, he doesn't see the courtyard and the olive tree. He sees instead this field, and the field is overgrown with this brown grass, this kind of dead grass. It's overcast, and there's kind of a chill breeze like blowing over this grass and fluttering the leaves of these kind of spindly skeletal trees. And there are figures standing in this field, dozens and dozens and dozens of figures. And at first, Lox is confused because he doesn't know any of these people. He's kind of looking around for a familiar face, and they're all just strangers to him, until he sees in the crowd the face of Luke. And there, the face of the Justicaro he killed on the road to Aladalgo. And there, another person he killed. And another. It slowly dawns on him that he's looking upon every person he's ever killed. And he looks down at his hands, sees that they're covered in blood, and then he's waking up on the floor of this dining room, coughing up blood, looking at just the crimson sprayed everywhere, feeling pressure on a wound in his neck, and feeling the kind of acrid, caustic flavor of the healing potion as it's being poured down his throat.
Okay. So that was Guillaume. The Condessa, you see her clap her hands, almost flamenco style, and quite suddenly the music, the ambient music of this villa returns. You can hear again as the silence is undone. It seems as though the pressure that has been pushing in on you from all sides, and the coldness, whatever effect that black pearl seems to have had, now seems to be undone. Sylvie, your turn.
It's a 13 for a death save.
Okay. It's another good death save.
Mhm.
Is that 2 for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
2 for me.
You
Yep.
good? Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Chimeran, you're up.
Chimeran, as soon as one of the bodyguards has got the creature off of him, he is throwing himself at Sylvie's body lying there, rooting around in that one little pouch he's got and pulling out a vial, and his hand is shaking and he's holding Sylvie, and probably never seen him like this, but he is crying at this moment. But he's holding her as gently as he can, and he pops the cork out of the vial, and he is starts to pour down the liquid into Sylvie's mouth. All the while he is saying, "You can't leave me, Sylvie. You can't leave me, Sylvie. It's not time. You can't do this." As he's pouring this into her mouth. It's a healing potion.
Okay. 2d4 plus 2.
2d4. 2 plus 3, 7.
Okay. Sylvie.
And he's holding you gently, by the way. And yeah.
Where did Sylvie go? And how were you brought back?
We see, first we hear the sound of water lapping up against the side of a wooden rowboat. We hear the sound of labored breathing as we see a man in ripped finery, a very strange sight, taking both of the oars and pulling rhythmically back, moving this boat along. There's no sign of land in any direction, just this lone boat. In this boat, we see a small child, looks to be about maybe 10, 11, and a woman similarly dressed in this finery, but it's been covered in mud and dirt and debris and ripped in places. The child's face similarly is covered in mud. Exhaustion dots the under eyes of everyone's face. And when the woman speaks, she speaks in a language that is unfamiliar. It's different. Something that Sylvie has not heard in a long time. As Sylvie looks up as this child, the mother kneels down. When we get to the shore, you are not to say a word. No one can know what you are saying. No one can know where you are from. The child with a tear-stained face looks up and in the same language says, Mom, I want to go home. When can we come back? How long is this going to take? The mother looks saddened at this as she says, we are going to make a new life, a new home. You will have a new name, a new face. She tries to smile, but you can see that everything she does is faltering. And at that point, you can see the sliver of land coming up on the horizon. And at the same time, you hear the sound of shouting, of yelling. And the mother turns frantically to the child, Sylvie, and says, quickly into the water, and pushes Sylvie back. And as Sylvie's falling back into the water, lands within, gets a mouthful of water, and is immediately plunged into darkness. And as she opens her eyes and sees you, Chimeran, she says a word. Barely audible, but because they're so close, you can most likely hear it. And it's in a different language that you do not understand. And she mutters it once, and then she kind of blinks again a couple more times, and she looks around. And her eyes rest on you, and they soften, and she just closes them again.
I think at that moment too, Chimeran sees your eyes flutter open, and he almost forgets how hurt and injured you are. The moment he sees that you are alive, he presses you to him in a tight, tight embrace, and doesn't let go. Not at this moment.
Just as several of you are pulled back from the brink of death, we see these creatures being held tight by these strange bodyguards that seem to serve the Condessa. These creatures that they're holding onto so tightly disappear into mist as they burn to a crisp, becoming once again that kind of pinkish, swirling mist that came from the perfume bottle. And we start to see those mists drifting towards the doorways of the room. That's where we're going to go ahead and take our break. So, holy shit. Wow. Yeah, that went a lot scarier than I thought it would. But what a ride. So, we're going to take a 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouses, etc., etc. And yeah, I think we're going to get back to the second half of what we have planned this evening when we return. Sit tight. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Evermore le Masquerade. This is episode or session, whichever, 12, titled "An Invitation Revoked." That was an incredibly tenuous exchange that just happened. 3 characters had a close brush with death, but have now been brought back from the brink, as it were. And the vampire creatures that were in the clutches of these kind of stoic, golem-like individuals who work for the Condessa, as they were holding these vampire-type creatures, they poofed and became this pink swirling mist that you had originally seen escape from the shattered perfume bottle thrown down by Lavinia Strozzi, who is nowhere to be found. The Condessa is fuming. She is letting out a string of curse words beneath her breath as she is stomping around the room. She is spying these pink clouds of mist. Oh, no, you don't. I don't think so. She is beginning to move in their direction, and she begins to basically slice and cut at the clouds of mist with this sword that she is brandishing with no small amount of skill. However, the rest of you are out of combat. She's going to mop up for you. What are the rest of you doing in this disheveled, blood-covered dining room?
Guillaume is, as soon as he has basically stabilized Locks, he is going to scramble under the table again. And he's going to focus as hard as he can on what he used to look like.
Okay, so that sounds like another wisdom saving throw.
Good boy. That's gonna be a 12.
Okay. Try as hard as you might. There is no change.
Vera is going to kind of come back to consciousness, and she's going to, and I forgot to mention this before, so I'm going to kind of work this out a different way, but she's going to kind of come back into consciousness, and she's going to go to sit up, and she's going to kind of look at her hand, and all of a sudden she's going to shake it, and she's going to kind of close her eyes for a second. And Guillaume, maybe while you're under the table trying to change, when you were feeding Vera the healing potion, Lox is still passed out and Chimerian was over with Sylvie. Maybe you didn't notice it right away or something, but before she woke up, Vera, who typically has this kind of black and red streaked hair and this very kind of golden colored skin, her hair was completely stark white and her skin was white with these like patches of color all over them. And when she woke up and looked at you and said thank you and passed back out, she suddenly became the Vera that you know again as she was laying there. And you kind of saw her change in front of your eyes.
Guillaume, like that registered with him, but barely. Like that's one of those things that he might remember that happened later, but right now he like in the moment he was so focused on both his people being down and being terrified about being stuck in this form after his inability to change, that's sitting in the back of his mind.
But she gets up and she kind of looks at her hand and shakes it a little bit and looks around the room, and she starts to try to get off the table, um, picking her other hand up and just seeing blood covering it. And she kind of starts to try to wipe it off on this beautiful white dress that's now just completely ruined that she was wearing. And she moves to step off the table, and she kind of like has to catch herself before she falls to the floor. Eventually she finds a seat and she just sits there, and she's sitting in this seat just staring at the floor and looking at her hands and then back at the floor, and she's just not moving.
Anyone else?
Chimeran is still just holding Sylvie tight. Desperate to hang on to her.
Yeah, Sylvie's tired, so she's just like just laying there, just like
We're taking a moment.
just taking the moment. So though the word that you heard Sylvie say in the like Kirill language is like mother, or like a that kind of like a very like endearing term for like a parent or something.
Oh, wow. Okay. That actually would also explain a little bit why Chimeran is holding on to you as tightly as he is, because that word would have evoked even more emotion at this moment. And yeah, he's not letting you go.
Yeah, this is fine. Sylvie's just taking this moment.
Yeah, I think at one point, if anybody else can hear it, one of the words he's saying is, I won't lose you too.
What about Locks? What's Locks up to?
Locks is kind of sitting on the floor, sort of in a puddle of his own blood. And he's sort of like reaching up to, there's like a fresh kind of faint scar on his neck where the healing potion has already done its work, but it's leaving the kind of the memory of this injury. And he's just feeling the flesh there, and it is unfamiliar to him the way that it feels. And he reaches into this this kind of overcoat that he's wearing over this. He even dressed up this fancy dinner outfit that he's wearing that is now just completely covered in various people's and creatures' blood. And he just kind of like pulls the cork out of this other healing potion and takes a big swig of it like it's a Gatorade, and it's just like wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. And he kind of just sweeps this like tired bloodshot gaze over the rest of the party, and he says, "It was a trap. It was a trap."
We knew what she was. We should have just killed her as soon as she stepped in the room.
I agree. It won't happen again.
I think Vera coughs a little bit and some blood comes up with her cough, and she just takes it and continues to just wipe it off on her dress.
You hear like a little bit of like kind of a croak from underneath the table, like what little hope I had left in her humanity is gone.
Vera will like peek under the table that she's sitting at, looking at Guillaume. Are you okay?
No, not yet. And he's just like, he's sitting there and you see his eyes are just keep like occasionally like closing, and he just like, he looks like he's just like straining his entire body. But then he'll just open his eyes and kind of peer down at these, strange, hairy, elongated paws that he's sporting.
Vera's going to like lower herself to the floor very carefully. And she's going to kind of, through very pained movements, she's going to crawl under the table with Guillaume. And she's going to kind of slide up behind him. And she's going to very gently and very slowly kind of wrap her arms around him. And she's going to put her head on his, like, kind of like right next to his, like on his shoulder, right next to his head. And she's just going to whisper to him, "You helped me. Let me help you." And she's going to give him an inspiration so that she can help him shift back out of his form. And she's just going to... It can be difficult.
Yeah, it was easier to mess the bones up than to put them back into place. It's always the case, isn't it? So how would I roll? It's not gonna be a straight roll because it's sort of inspiration on the previous one.
Is it inspiration or is it bardic inspiration?
Bardic inspiration. Like I'm going to give him a bardic inspiration to do it.
It's a D6?
I am at a D8.
D8, okay. So yeah, you would just roll a D8,
5.
Austin, and add that to your total for your saving throw.
Yeah, and then my bardic inspirations... Oh, no, wait. Okay, so they don't do anything special for skill checks? No, they only do special for damage or for saving throws. Yeah, they only do specials for hit points or damage on mine.
Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's only a 13 this time.
Ooh, okay. No. Unfortunately, try as you might, Guillaume, you're not able to shift back.
Yeah, he'll sort of hang his head. Thank you for trying. I think I might need to see the saint.
We'll go there next. You can...
Suddenly, you all hear a scream from deeper within the compound. It doesn't sound like a scream of panic or pain or terror. It seems like anger. And there is that same string of curse words that she was muttering under her breath now are echoing off of the opulent halls of her home as she is screaming them at the top of her lungs. Well, or lack thereof.
Vera will crawl back out from under the table. And start heading in the direction, I guess, of the screams.
Guillaume will very reluctantly emerge a moment later, kind of averting eye contact with everyone.
Does anybody have a reaction to seeing Guillaume this way?
I think I was gonna say I think Lox would maybe start kind of like he will kind of be like, oh, and he'll very quickly like realize who it is, what has happened, and he'll sort of like do this quick sort of nod in silent understanding. And he actually reaches out, Guillaume, and kind of like he like gets his hand sort of at the back of your neck and like kind of pulls you into a quick hug. And he's like, hey, thanks for the drink.
Yeah, at the very first like touch, you would probably notice like the fur on the back of his neck kind of stand up, and there's just this quick involuntary twitch before he like settles into it and kind of realizes what's happening. Yeah, of course. Let's see what the bitch stole.
And Lox will reach down and grab his sword off the ground, and it's kind of covered in this sort of unnerving mixture of like his own like deep red blood and like whatever black ichor came pouring out of these vampiric creatures.
Yeah, it's almost like coagulated blood. Like dark brown and thick.
And it's sort of this unsettling image looking at these two different shades of blood on the blade. But he'll quickly sort of wipe it off on his already ruined clothes, hook the scabbard onto his belt, and look back to Chimeran and Sylvie. You two coming?
Yeah, Sylvie looks not great. And she like has to, I think, really rely on Chimeran to even stand. Dress is blood soaked at this point with this very similar wound to Vera. Yeah, but she nods. You can see when she looks to Guillaume, there is like there's an eyebrow raise. And she just shakes her head and let's go see what this is.
Yeah, I don't think Chimeran's actually looked at Guillaume yet. He's too focused on Sylvie and making sure Sylvie is up and walking and that she's okay. That's all he's paying attention to right now. So yeah. We'll see what happens once he actually notices. But yeah, Chimeran's not a strong man, but he is doing his darndest to take all of Sylvie's weight as she's injured here.
All right, so the five of you kind of hobble out of this dining room, supporting one another, either emotionally, physically, or a combination of both. And you make your way through these fine tiled halls of marble and all of this ornate gold everywhere. Some of you, may be trailing a little bit of blood here and there because it's impossible not to step in at the very least. You make your way back to the library of the house, where you follow the echoing curses that are coming from La Condesa. And oh, hang on. I put that under. Oh, please. Technical difficulties. You enter back into the library, and you find the Condesa standing in the middle of it, and she is absolutely fuming.
What did she take?
she shakes her head, kind of startling a little as you enter, and she turns and points to the wall where the fireplace sits. And those of you who had been in here before notice that where her portrait was, it is now missing.
Why does it
She
matter?
stole the painting. Because it is my phylactery.
Guillaume is like shrinking to the back of the group, but hearing and like a relatively obscure arcane word, the nerd in him just immediately can't help itself. He's for those of you that are unaware, a phylactery is generally what one of the greater undead tend to use to
Guillaume
hold
now
them
is the,
apart
oh
that-
dear God, what happened to you?
I think Vera
Just
would probably
more of what
step in
happened
front
earlier.
of Guillaume. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying more of what happened before.
Are you stuck like that?
Let's worry about the Contessa and her painting for now.
This
He's just like staring at you.
This is not good. I should have. How many times did I have the thought that I should? My vanity. It is only because of my vanity that this has happened.
So, if something happens to the painting, something happens to you?
Not exactly. This painting exists so that if something happens to me, to this form, I do not stay dead. I am able to return. But if my phylactery is destroyed, then if something happens to me, that will not be the case. I
Could
am
you make a
as
new
mortal
one?
as all of you. Perhaps, yes, but it takes many years to do so, and very difficult processes.
Well, listen, I speak only for myself, but seems to me you're probably the biggest threat to the vampires here in the city. We'd all be dead if you weren't here. And you seem to know your way around killing these things. So it's in our best interest to ensure that you stick around, because clearly we're outmatched.
Apologies for putting all of you in danger. I did not expect that Lavinia had been changed quite as much as she has. And she certainly has been given some amount of help. I certainly did not expect for her to turn up here tonight. So I apologize for... Well, she kind of gestures at the shape of all of you. Please, you can stay here until you are healed.
I actually can't remember. Austin just asked if we asked her about the iron masks. I don't remember if we did or not, Jeremy.
I do not recall either.
I like just listened to the last session. I don't think we did.
This is there's a nug. Okay, she thinks I did.
I know she confirmed a couple of
Yes,
suspicions.
we did, because I have a note. I have a note in here that says the iron masks work in rune magic. So we did have some
Oh.
conversation at some point about them.
That's right. Okay. That's right. I remember her saying that.
As I said, you are all welcome to stay here and heal. I insist. I will give you everything that you need to be comfortable. But with my phylactery stolen, I am even more fearful to go out from this place than I was before. I am putting myself into much danger, especially because now I know that they want me they either want to control me or they want to kill me.
I would guess probably control you. If they wanted to kill you, she would have just destroyed it on sight. I would think.
Perhaps you are right.
And then had
Well,
more to kill you here.
Does holding your phylactery give them any sort of power over you? Beyond the threat to your life?
You're muted, Jeremy, if you're answering.
oh my goodness.
Very dramatic pause.
It was so dramatic. It was one of those Sergio Leone pan into the eyes. She says, Lugarico is a crafty man. He's lived for a long, long time, so there is not any way that I know of that they can use it to take possession of me. But as I said, he's been around for a long time. And for good reason. So I would not underestimate anything he could be capable of.
Simply having it gives him the power to... I mean, what are you going to do? Say no if he requests something of you?
I will certainly try. I too have lived for a long time, and if this is the end for me, then so be it. I can be at peace with that. Except I have to take that bastard down with me. So if this is meant to be the last thing that I do before my eternal rest, then I would have it be his end as well. Whatever you need, however I can help you, whatever information you need of me, I will be your patron. But this is something that I must have you do for me. I will give you a choice. You can try to return my phylactery. If that is possible, then I may be able to help you more than simply from here. Or You can go after Lugarico now. I don't think you are ready yet, but I understand if you feel the need to go.
I feel the need to have an unkillable vampire hunter at our side when we take on someone as powerful and connected as your unfortunate nemesis.
I mean, we couldn't even take out his pets' pets
We
without
couldn't
your
even
aid.
take out 3 rats.
Yeah.
I have an unshakable feeling that all of this is connected. This web that we find ourselves in, this is no mere politics. This web has been spun by a very dangerous spider, and we are all caught in it. So, what do we do next?
We need to get Guillaume to the King of Rats. He has to learn how to control his abilities.
I do apologize for not being as forthcoming as we could have with you, Contessa. I had a small incident in the sewer, and I have since come down with this affliction, as you can well see.
Yes, lycanthropy is, well, it can be a curse, but there are those who live with it and are very happy that way.
As soon as I figure out how to become myself again, then I may have no problem living with this affliction.
There may be some magic that I can find in my library that could force you to change, or perhaps rid you of this curse, if you so wish it. But it may be in your best interest to speak with the Saint of Rats before you make the decision.
My greatest desire to ask of you, that spell you used to burn all of those fiends that were assaulting my companions. If you could help me learn something like that, that would certainly come in handy. It may be beyond my abilities, but I am nothing if not dedicated to the study of the arcane.
It is not a spell that I cast myself, but if you look here, and she moves to one of the windows here in the library, and she pulls back the curtain, and it is very much middle of the night, dark outside. She traces her bony finger kind of along the edge of the window, all of the lead painting that separates the different panes of glass, and you can see kind of stamped into the filigree design of all of the metalwork here are the runes that comprise the daylight spell.
He's immediately just kind of like nerding out, fascinated on this, like, oh, that is clever. Oh, well done. And he pulls out his little notebook and his like travel quill and tries to start like copying these down, but he very quickly realizes his hands are claw-like and extended, and he just can't hold the pen. It just will not, like, it keeps fumbling out of his hand, and finally he'll turn to his companions and like kind of look through them and like think like, Sylvie, she's got like a designer's eye. Like he's like, excuse me, Sylvie, I'm having a bit of trouble. Could you could you just help me copy some of these? And like have you like copy some of them into his notebook.
Yeah, Sylvie would definitely help out.
Fantastic.
Locks would speak up. Weapons. We need tools that can hurt these things, and we need to know where to hit them and how to hit them. I'm a decent fighter, but I've never faced things like these. I need you to tell me how to kill them quick.
Of course, yes. I will see what I can do as far as getting you equipment that will better prepare you to face such enemies. What is the heaviest armor that you prefer to wear?
Let me look at my character sheet and make sure I don't say an armor that's going to reduce my dexterity.
Fair enough.
I'll get back to you.
Check the washing instructions. Anyone else? Is there some other way that I can help?
I'm with Locks here. I could hit them, but I couldn't hurt them. My weapons were useless.
You prefer to fight with 2 daggers?
In a pinch, I prefer the one just well placed.
Very well. And again, like, even though we're making these comments that have a lot of, like, you know, what might be metagame terms, like, the vernacular that she's using is almost like that. It's very obvious that she understands the language that adventurers speak. You know, refers to weapons by their name. You know, this is not the kind of thing that most condesas would probably be expected to understand much about. Studded leather. Okay. Very well. I will have it done.
And if Lavinia uses more of that silence, again, I'm familiar with the arcane arts, but everything I know generally requires some amount of spell word to focus and funnel the magic. If I had some way to focus magic without necessarily having to speak it, that could help. But I don't know how hard those are to come by.
I will see what I can do.
Vera's kind of probably leaning on one of the tables that are in this room at this point, and she resisted everything I threw at her. I need my spells. I need everything to be stronger. I need to be able to make it harder for her to push me out of her mind, she avoided my hold ability. It was oily, it was slippery, like it wasn't going to work on her at all. No,
what
I need more.
Was this you tried to do?
I tried to hold her in place. Yes.
What spell did you use?
Hold person.
Ah, you see, hold person does not work against vampires. They are not people.
I figured that out the hard way.
There are many, many things that I too have learned the hard way when fighting these creatures, though it has been some time since I have had to do so. But as to your request, again, I will see what I can do. Well, if that is everything for tonight, please, my servants will show you to your rooms, where you are welcome to stay, if you wish. Her bodyguards will kind of, appear from almost nowhere, kind of, from every nook and cranny. They kind of step out to basically just to wait to usher you to a room if you're going to accept the hospitality.
I apologize. I thank you for the hospitality, Condessa. I have to ask. Before we were so rudely interrupted, we did have food on the way, and it
yes.
smells ever so good. And I was wondering if we might continue on with our meal, perhaps before we recuperate and rest.
Certainly. We can have things set up in the second dining room.
Yes, that would be preferable. I assume there's no time to clean the blood and viscera from the first.
Okay.
Yeah, I could eat.
You make your way to a different room where you are seated at a table that you're told is smaller than the other room, but you're not entirely sure by how much it would be, because it's still very much a very large table. Again, the room is incredibly well appointed, more painting on the ceiling. The large skull-faced individuals kind of make their way around the room, lighting candles, setting places, and bit by bit, food is brought in. They seem to have been careful to select the dishes that were not covered in blood, and are bringing them in. There's more than enough here to eat. While you are eating,
Guillaume
is there
eating
anything
ravenously?
Okay, perfect. While you are eating, is there anything? If you are drinking the wine that you were drinking before, all of you realize that you're feeling better with each glass that you finish. So effectively, each glass of this wine that you drink is treated as a healing potion.
Does it make one tipsy as well?
Yes. It is still wine.
That sounds great. I'm going to drink a lot of it.
I think Chimeran will as well. More than... Though to the others, it doesn't seem like he's drinking more than he normally does. He is drinking way more than he normally does.
Yeah, Guillaume has given up all the caution that he had earlier about drinking the wine or eating the food or anything, and he's just eating and drinking with abandon.
I think Vera would probably be picking at things, but she's off somewhere. Like her mind is absolutely not in the room. And she might sip at some of the wine, but she's very, very distracted and not really with any of the conversation that's happening in the room.
I think Sylvie is like fussing over people's like garments as they are like at the table, and her own as well, just trying to like salvage anything that's left that isn't covered in blood and destroyed by everything. So Sylvie is like casting mending, but she seems to be back in good spirits.
Chimeran also seems a bit distracted. picking at the food, but definitely drinking the wine and more than he needs to.
Okay. Is there any further conversation or questions that you have while you're taking this meal? No? Okay. So, if you are staying, whenever you are finished with your meal, whenever you're finished drinking of the wine, you will be escorted to a stately room where the bed is comfortable. It's already been, turned down and warmed and whatnot. There's a fire lit in the room. It's probably the nicest night's stay that many of you have ever had before. But yeah, basically anything mundane that you could need or want, any food or beverage or comfort, it will be brought to you, and you are able to take a long rest. But before, go ahead and do all the mechanical stuff that goes with a long rest. But before we actually end the scene for the evening, I believe that there is some point where Chimeran is trying to catch the Condessa.
Yes, absolutely. Once everybody has kind of disappeared to their rooms, wherever they're staying, Chimeran searches out and tries to find the Condessa.
You find her in that library, that study. She's kind of standing in front of the fireplace. She has been partaking of wine, but not from the same casks or carafes that you have. The decanters that she's been drinking out of are an entirely different kind, which you noticed at dinner as well. But she has a glass of this wine kind of in her hand. Again, you can hear the crystal kind of like ringing against like the bones of her hands sometimes. She is staring at this blank, empty frame on the wall.
My lady, we will do our best to try to get that back.
Yes, I appreciate that. I know that it is asking a lot of you.
And for once, like, Chimeran seems a little uneasy, a little bit awkward in the situation. But I think the extra wine has helped loosen his tongue slightly, and he's just kind of blurts it out. I have something big to ask you to.
Oh, of course. She kind of turns her attention away from the painting on the wall. Anything that I can do.
When this is over, when we've recovered the painting and the Lugarico is dead, or maybe even before that, could maybe in these books you have here, there might be something to help me to. I need a curse removed.
A curse? The same as your friend?
Guillaume? Oh no, nothing like that. And Chimeran strides forward, so he's like closer to the Condessa, and at the same time he's actually removing his mask for the first time, like in front of somebody. I know you can't see it, but there's There's a piece of metal fused in my skull. And I need it out. I need it removed.
She kind of like waves one of these bony fingers kind of across your brow. And you see a strange kind of shimmer, almost like a flash of firelight, but it's blue and it's deep, deep within her eye sockets. These little pinpricks of firelight. She says, "Yes, there's something strange here. It's very well hidden. What is this?"
I don't know how to explain it. A collar, a leash, a device to hold me prisoner. A gift, he would say. I need it gone. Till it's gone, I will know no rest.
This is unusual, but I will look into this. If I can get to the bottom of it, we will remove this.
Oh, thank you. I think at this point, Chimeran probably falls to his knees and he's like gripping her, he like grabs her hand, her bony hand, and he's just like gripping it. Oh, please. I beg you. Thank you.
There is no need for that. Please, stand.
And he does so. Thank you again. And Chimeran would, having asked and having got this answer, he's like hopeful for the first time, and he was turned to go. Thank you so much.
I too know what it is like to be held against your will.
It's terrifying.
It is. But I promise you, if there is a way to fix whatever that is, and I can find it, that things will be fine.
If you can, I will be forever grateful.
We will call it even, if you return my painting.
I will do so or die trying. And I think with that, he walks away, putting his mask back on.
Okay. Did everyone accept the hospitality for the evening to stay here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not going outside. Who knows where Lavinia or her minions are.
All right. So each of you is able to get a nice long rest in a very comfortable bed. As many meals as you are willing to eat, as much wine as you want to drink. When you wake up in the next morning, what's the plan? What is the reconvening of the five of you and breakfast, and or what the plan for the day is?
Is there any chance that she has, like, you know, the friend sweatpants and the Gerdessi version of a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt we can borrow? So
Yeah,
I'm not running around in a
imagine
blood-soaked ball gown.
Yeah, she actually she absolutely has the Gerdessi Golden Girls like windsuit.
Nice.
That you
I
can-
will definitely take one in pink.
There you go.
You guys might be kind of surprised when Guillaume walks down in the morning, because he will look like Guillaume again.
Slept it off, huh?
Vera's just gonna look at him knowingly.
Something like that.
Lox will kind of like pick up a weird vibe and just go, all right, and like keep like drinking his orange juice.
I still need to see the saint if possible.
I think that's probably the first thing we should do. We got to tell him about the nest too. Man, long couple days, huh?
Before we actually leave, Guillaume will like wave his hand over himself, and you'll see just sort of the form of him sort of shimmer a little bit and change, and you notice that like he's no longer Guillaume, he's now that nondescript man that Guillaume uses as a face whenever he's going out in public. Making good use of my 6th level illusion ability to change illusions.
Okay. So it sounds like then the plan is to head to the Saint of Rats. Okay. And it sounds like, for the first time in a while, that the 5 of you are sticking together on this one. All right. Cool. All right, so I think that's where we're going to go ahead and call it for the evening. That's a good breaking point before we start getting into anything else that's too lengthy. That gives me a place to know where to start next time, so I know that you're headed to see the Saint of Rats. Whew, man, this was a hell of a session, y'all. Thank you for for making that incredible. You know, having 3 characters making death saves it's tense, and there's a lot of players that would probably have their role play kind of go by the wayside a little bit as the concern for their character kind of rises, but not a single one of you did that. It was amazing to watch. All of you took that in a beautiful direction, so thank you. I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can say goodbye, etc., whatever they want to say. And we're going to start in reverse order this time with Kenya.
So yeah, we were joking around at break. Vera is heading back to the Castillo, and she's going to grab her staff and pack up, and she's moving out of Dodge, because this town is for the vampires. No, but in all seriousness, that was crazy intense. As soon as that silence dropped, I was like, oh no, oh no. Because being a bard, you drop silence, and I am a pretty floor decoration, apparently. But one thing that I loved about that, even though it was really intense, and even though, we were like, dying all over the place, we were still cracking jokes in the back chat about stuff, which just kind of, I don't know, it made me happy, because it just shows the caliber of players that are in this group, because it is a game and we are all just here to have fun. And I would have been very sad had Vera perished, but at the same time, GNC, baby. So it's time to generate a new character. Yeah, so thank you very much, Jeremy. Amazing as always. I am so squishy. I am so squishy. And I'm going to pass it to Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt. I was Loxley LaCroix, and I also almost died That session was so tense and so fun at the same time, and I feel like we were all like, it was like this weird, like we went into the session like very anxious, very like, okay, what's gonna happen? And then like Lavinia was there, and we were just like, this isn't that bad. And she was like leaving, and then it was like, psych, it's really bad. And then it was horrible again. So we were all right to be anxious going into this session. Jeremy, thank you so much for another great session. And yeah, can't wait for the next one. Thanks, everybody.
I think you're next.
I forgot to do the thing. We're gonna bring it on over to Omeleteville. Bring it on over to Austin.
Oh, whoa. Hop in order. These wusses just almost dying. Like, come on. Talk to me when you are really dead and only come back because a were-rat bit you. Yeah, no, this was a crazy session. I knew it wasn't gonna go great. I thought like maybe there's some reason that Lavinia is there and she wants to like talk to us about something, and it turns out she wanted to talk to us about how we should all be dead. And that was awful and wonderful, and it's going to be interesting to see how Guillaume reacts to having like the wool finally pulled from his eyes when it comes to Lavinia, who is both his worst enemy and his greatest long lost love. And so it's difficult wanting to, you know, drive a stake into the heart of someone you once cared very much about. Yeah, so I can't wait to see what happens. Y'all are amazing people and amazing players, and it was so fun to see where everybody came back from. That was a really great scene, and I commend Jeremy for giving everybody the opportunity to do that too. So I really enjoyed all of that. So I will I will pass it to Em.
Everyone, so unbelievably tense, and has just been a common theme in games lately of just everyone dying all the time. So I'm here for it though. So it's great, and it adds to the drama, makes us feel less invulnerable, I guess, which is always a humbling experience. So really great time. Thanks for a great game. And I will pass it to Karen.
Everyone, it's Karen. Yeah, I was afraid at one point. I was like, oh, wow, maybe we're just gonna stop this campaign at some point, because I just short, sweet, I guess. But eventually luck did change for us, and we managed to not all die, and that was great. One thing Chimeran has to say to Guillaume is, dude, she's just not that into you. So, and with
The
that,
problem is she's too into me. Clearly she's obsessed.
I
She
mean,
can't stop thinking about me.
I don't
Shows up
know.
at dinners that she's not invited to because I'm there.
So
Frames me for murder.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I feel like the last few encounters we've had with her, she's a little bit more obsessed with Sylvie.
yeah, no.
All right, that is fair. But Sylvie, don't go for it. She's toxic, girl.
I love this group. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait for the next session. Oh, thank you, Jeremy, for bringing this to us every month.
Thank you, all of you. Like I said, this again, I say it every single time, but it bears repeating. Like, you know, I was so reticent to dive into this particular setting just because of how easily it can go wrong, dealing with this kind of subject matter and this kind of a culture, and it's real easy to kind of make a joke out of it. And I think that would not have played well. So I'm infinitely thankful that each one of you has taken the the idea behind this setting and really embraced it and gave me so much fuel to build bonfires to burn all of you at the stake with. It's a lot of fun to be able to constantly try to figure out what nerve this is going to strike with your characters, because action is great and intrigue is wonderful, but unless there's an investment, it really lacks a certain something. So I really like finding ways to grab a hold of your characters and pull them in for various reasons. And I love that each one of you is willing to take those hooks and just run with it. So yeah, it's incredible. So thank you all so very much. For anybody who may have been watching this game, thank you as well from the deepest part of my heart. I guess that would be the cockles. So thank you from the cockles of my heart. Yeah, it means so much to me that there are people out there who enjoy watching these games. So if you did in fact have a good time, consider subscribing, hit the like button, do all of those things. YouTube likes it, and it makes me feel good. So what the hell? Share it around, talk to your friends about it. Yeah, I love doing this, and as long as there's people out there who seem to be enjoying watching them, then I'm probably going to keep broadcasting. So yeah, I think that's everything that I've got. Just remember that kindness is a free action. It doesn't cost you anything. So the world needs more of it. Put it out there. But until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.